The Chicago Bears have had a top 3 running back room in back-to-back seasons thanks to guys like Khalil Herbert, David Montgomery, Roschon Johnson, and even Darrington Evans. And Ryan Poles knows that running back injuries happen pretty often in this league, way too often in my opinion, and especially when we lost all 3 running backs and our fullback against the Washington Commanders in the Bears' first win last season. So it may be a good idea to go out and get ourselves some extra running back depth in case that happens, but also a guy that can play multiple positions so we can have more longevity and utility on the roster. And Ryan Poles did in fact go out and do that, signing an undrafted rookie free agent that is not only a strong running back, but can receive out of the backfield and is very good on special teams, both receiving and defending. And I'm super excited to share that, especially the reports I've seen at camp. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. So who's the new kid on the block that can play running back and special teams? Ian Wheeler from Howard, a 5'11", 205-pound running back and kick returner who has burst and will be very exciting to watch during training camp since all these undrafted rookie free agents have a lot to prove in order to make that 53-man roster. And what his advantage is, he can play multiple positions. Wheeler is a solid running back, but I know for the fact that he was brought in for more than that because of what he can do out of the backfield. He is a special teams weapon, receiving and defending. And the more I watch and learn about him, the more I like about him. I'm going to do a breakdown today for you guys, and I hope you're cheering him on like I'm going to be, because camp is less than 6 weeks away. And before I begin today's show, make sure to smash that like button if you think the Chicago Bears will win 9 or more games this year, along with commenting your record prediction for the 2024-2025 Chicago Bears. The North is the toughest division in football, in my opinion, and considering I think that Chicago will have a winning record against the North this year, I think this team is easily going to win more than 9 games because I have them sitting at 10-7 as my floor at the moment because they look so darn good at camp, and I'm super excited about it. I know you guys are too. But now let's jump into Ian Wheeler. The running back played in the NCAA for 5 seasons, 4 of them being active as he was a redshirt freshman. He went to Howard University, which is located in Washington, D.C., standing at 5'11", 205 pounds. He's not a small guy, he's not a big guy, but he's dense. And the fact that he's a special teams gunner being that big is dangerous. He's only 22 years old, so he's definitely on the younger side of things for being a 5-year NCAA player and has a lot of career ahead of him. Not only that, he's a 2-time All-MEAC second team honors and was on academic all honors every single year that he was at Howard. So clearly this guy is good in the books, he's smart, he's mature, and that's a lot of things that we were hearing during his scouting report, which I'll get to in a second. But in 2023 for Howard, he had the 3rd most kick and punt return yards in the MEAC, along with 11th in total yards in the entire league. So this guy can chop it up wherever he is and is clearly a dual threat, or actually a triple threat in this situation. He has a 4.57 40 time, so he's quick, but he's not totally like the fast guy like Josh Blackwell who runs a 4.38, but he is big and fast, and he can gun down the field. And again, he's also a running back, guys, and a kick returner. So he's not just tackling guys. He's able to make opportunities for himself. Teams are really impressed by his professional attitude, though, and that's what a lot of teams have said, including the Chicago Bears. Teams thought they were speaking to an already NFL mature player in all their interviews, as he said himself that he is not the guy, but he is a guy that could bring a team to the next level, bringing his depth and his skill, because he knows that he is very valuable in the certain areas that he is a specialist in, and that's what teams really respected about him. Going into his college stats over 5 seasons and then his 2023 stats. Overall, he has played in 42 total games with 1,154 rushing yards, a 6.5 yard per carry average. So guy just keeps moving the ball, which is great. Total of 14 rushing touchdowns, 8 coming in 2022. And then from a receiving perspective, 234 receiving yards. Keep that number in mind for a little bit later when I break down his 2023. With a 10.2 yard per catch average and 1 receiving touchdown. His kick return yards, fantastic. 1,322 with a 25.4 yard per return average and 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns. In total, he had 21 special team tackles as well. So this guy not only gets yards, not only moves the ball, but he's able to stop the ball as well from moving upfield. But his 2023 stats, that's where things get really impressive. He played in 11 games out of his 42 in his senior year with 308 rushing yards for a 7.3 yard per carry average and 2 rushing touchdowns. But remember his receiving yards? He got over half of them last year alone with 119 with a 13.2 yard per catch average, but no receiving touchdowns. His kick return yards, though, he got a quarter of them just in his senior year, 494 kick return yards, and he became a kick returner in his second to last year. So let's just keep that in mind too. His yard per return, 29.1, with 1 kickoff return for a touchdown and 7 total tackles. So across all the categories that he does play in and he does specialize in, he was an absolute threat. He got the job done. And also, he hit career highs in the NCAA at Howard during that time. So clearly, he can continue to progress. He's learning. He's getting better at the game. And I think he's going to bring that to Chicago. Now, before I get more into his scouting report, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Freshie Organic Tequila Seltzer. Support locally owned startups by getting Freshie today by going to the link in the description to find a Freshie near you. So his scouting report. Scouts just love that this guy is a machine at getting yards and making plays for his offense, but also his massive stat of 29.1 yards per return on his kick returns this past year. Especially with the new rule coming into the NFL this upcoming season, he could be insanely dangerous and give you constant good field position. It's going to be a high-scoring league again, I think, this year because of this rule, because teams are going to be put in better position, and Wheeler absolutely brings that. Because he plays with crazy acceleration, whether he's on offense, defense, or returning, he doesn't take his foot off the gas, which is huge, which is why we need a guy like that, and he has an insanely high motor that he's always on the field and has the agility and endurance to do so. So I'd also like to call out that he doesn't fumble, like literally at all. He's had 1 fumble over his NCAA career, which is something big in today's league because you don't want to lose momentum. You want a guy that can get the job done, and he absolutely does that. He doesn't take his eye off the ball, and we've seen that at camp, according to other reports. I mean, he tracks it. He calls fair catches. He doesn't take it if it's a risk, and especially working with Tory Taylor, who absolutely has a cannon of a leg, that absolutely helps him out as well, which I'll get into in a little bit. But he's also really good at reading the field. He constantly finds himself in open gaps. That's why he's able to get a 6.5 yard per carry average overall when he's rushing the ball, over 10 yards every time he receives it. So he's very, very good at making opportunities for himself because of not only his intelligence, but also his vision. And I was kind of hitting on this earlier, but I think it is so big that how good our special teams is getting. Ryan Poles is really focusing on that. I mean, he took Tory Taylor in the 4th round, who's a blue chip punter. I mean, the kid has a 7+ second hang time and averages 65 yards a punt if he really wants to. So he can absolutely pinpoint guys deep, but that's helping Wheeler because Wheeler is having to learn how to catch punts against one of the best already in the NFL. So things are absolutely going in the right direction. Also, we have special teams gunner Josh Blackwell and Jalen Jones who are leading the way. So I think our special teams is going to be super good. And what's great is that all these special teams guys can play multiple positions. And, you know, running back is one that's not as common, but if we can have that, that's huge for the Chicago Bears because usually it's just DBs and linebackers. But if one of our guys is a running back too, in case for some reason we lose all of our running backs again, we don't have to deal with that situation. So overall, a very strong move by Ryan Poles, and I think it's great. And I just want to thank everybody again for always tuning in to Just Another Year Chicago Bears. I know that it's the off season. There's not much going on. We have another 6 weeks till camp, but we're just turning and burning, baby. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's hit 16,000 before camp starts. And also once we hit 16,000, I'm giving away a pretty awesome giveaway. So stay tuned for that. But with that, and please share this with your family and friends. If you're like, hey, like you want to watch some Bear stuff, you want to go to the guy that I listen to during the off season and during the Bear season, here's Nick, here's his channel. Make sure you follow. Really appreciate it, guys. Let me know if you also have any questions and throw it in the comments. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, bear down, baby.